Do you trust your government? Who do you trust when things go wrong? Government, institutions, the media, your community? Trust isn't automatic, it's earned. And in recent years, public confidence in leadership has shifted dramatically across the globe. Hello and welcome back to episode 12 of the Prepper Network podcast. Today we're talking about government, trust, corruption, crisis management, and why preparedness might matter more than politics. I'm your host Lewis, along with Frank and Jim. So Jim, when the government says, don't worry, are you worrying less or are you checking your panties?
Well, this is quite funny because I've gotten used to our government not telling us not to worry because they have been actually pushing preparedness and stuff pretty hard for such a long time that it's like I've forgotten how it was before. And so I'm gonna say that I trust my government to a rather large degree, but that's also because what they are telling us isn't really it doesn't make them look very good, if I'm gonna say like so they will tell us like more or less, you need to be prepared because we don't have the preparedness to come save you.
They don't
so
have
so
the...
yeah so there is no magical government that is coming to save you if things goes bad. I mean they are doing what they're doing now. They don't have more resources if it comes to a crisis. So I don't feel like be calm, you lowly citizens, just let us handle it. That's not really a thing here.
No.
And that is quite nice, I think. So it feels like they are trusting us.
Yeah, in a kind of like fucked up kind of way, you'd kind of prefer that because at least then
Yes.
they're not pretending to be a superhero that's going to come and save you. At least you know where you stand. And you're like, right, I know how I have to prepare, and
Yes.
they don't put measures in place to kind of try and stop you from preparing. Like in some countries where they say you need to prepare, but you're not allowed to have chickens. You're not allowed to grow your own food. You're not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, of course there are parts of government that put rules in place that are weird and are not like they are not playing very well with preparedness in different ways, and that all also gets a lot of attention. And they had recently that exact thing with like if you're not a large scale commercial farmer, then you need to have like these huge cages for chickens and stuff like that. So big that it was impossible. But they had to roll that back because the reaction was quite large on it. So they had to actually cancel it. So that was quite refreshing. But I mean, we had this everybody helps out with the preparedness thing until like 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed. From that point until like when the brochure came out 2018, then it was like the time of eternal peace, and you don't have to worry about anything. Kind of like the stuff you are talking about when with how I often hear other Europeans talk about their governments. It's like don't you worry about that. We are fixing this thing. That's never gonna happen. So it was think with the Russian invasion of Crimea and the eastern parts of Ukraine in 2014. I think that was kind of like a wake up call for our government, at least. And so the eternal peace stuff kind of went away, and we got the brochure. And I think our government were quicker in the change over to like, this is kind of getting into dangerous times, more so than the citizens of Sweden. So it was, and it's pretty much gone away now, but for a while it's been like people get angry because why aren't they fixing this for us? Instead of not trusting them, they get angry because they don't tell them everything is okay.
Yeah, but it's like I said, that's a good thing because at least people know where they stand with their government.
Yes,
So
I think it's way more honest. I
yeah,
think, and I prefer that all day. I mean, I much rather know that you can't expect someone to just deliver water to you if everybody needs water. I mean, they can do it if it's like your street.
yeah,
I mean, they can't do it if it's like 500,000 people. It's impossible.
yeah.
And the information has been there like forever. It's just that it hasn't been that easy to find if you don't look for it. So it hasn't been hidden, but it hasn't been clearly displayed. And as I've understood it, you guys have had very different experience with things like this are communicated.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, wow. That's a hard question. Do you trust your government? So if anybody had video right now, you'd see me wearing one of them tinfoil hats because we're going deep on it tonight, guys. Um,
Buckle up.
oh yeah. The wife is gonna if the wife sees it now, she's gonna kill me for using all the aluminium foil inside. Aluminum foil. Governments, wow, look at the UK. It's gone where you can't say any hurty words on the internet, and there's 12,000 people after being fined or in prison or in jail, um, just for making return comments or something like that. So
Mm.
do I trust the government over here? Absolutely not. We have
No.
one guy who's we call him he's a Taoiseach and a Taoiseach. Taoiseach is kind of second in command. Came out of school, went to college, he dropped out of college and went straight into politics. He's never had a job. He's now the Minister for Finance. Prior to that, he was the Minister for Health. This guy we're talking, look, they call him officially, well, unofficially, they call him the T-boy because that's all he is. But yeah, these are the kind of people we have running our country in Ireland. So, woohoo. You know what? I, if I was doing the job that he was doing, at least I have a life experience. This guy has none. He walks out of school and he's straight into the top job. He's literally below 40 years of age. So yeah, the books that they're printing out, what are they giving us a bit of hope in the case of an emergency? Most people trust. Most old people in this country trust the government. I think most of our parents and all that, they all trust the government. Oh, they'll see us right. They don't. They're after ruining. We're not gone as bad as the UK yet, but we're very close to it because the open border in Northern Ireland allows UK people just to walk in Ireland, no questions, no passports. We are being overrun now with immigration because they're kind of being hunted in the UK-ish, and they're coming into Ireland because they all think they get a free house over here, which is
Mm.
more or less right. They
Oh
get a
yeah.
lot of money, they get a lot of rights, they get a free house, free accommodation, free food, free healthcare, free dental, free cars, free insurance, free tax, and you can, yeah, if you want a taxi to go from here to Belfast, no problem, get in, the government will pay. And whereas the Irish people have 0, they're given nothing. Everything we do is we have to fight for it over here. So
Hey guys, it's Lewis here from the Prepper Network and the Radio Prepper Network. I just want to make this to thank everyone who's tuned into this show. We really appreciate it, and we didn't expect this show to get this sort of reaction. So it's fantastic. If you are watching or you are listening, please make sure you hit the subscribe button because about 62% of you who are listening to the show are not yet subscribers. So yeah, it doesn't cost you anything, but it makes all the difference to the show. So thanks, guys. Hit the subscribe button and enjoy. Yeah.
there's a lot of bitterness in this country about what's
But
going on in
it's
Ireland and
it,
what's going on in Europe
yeah,
because they're all in the same club.
but it's not just that, is it? It's that's just a tip of the iceberg. But you've also got the people that are in power are so corrupt right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, just look at what Keir Starmer's been caught doing. He's just let in someone right hand man was fiddling around and meddling with Epstein,
Epstein.
and there was he was let in and he wasn't and he knew about that, and there either was a security check and he signed off on it anyway, or there was no security check and he let him in. So either way, and then if anyone that I know get caught not paying 50 quid in taxes, off you go to prison, matey. And all these Epstein files, they were like, these people were like trafficking children, grooming children, cannibalizing children, and who's going to see the inside of a prison cell? Okay, so
It's quite interesting that they oft they oft him Epstein, and the only one that's in jail is a woman.
yeah,
Yeah, and she
yeah,
pleads the fifth.
yeah. So all these people, all these people have been caught out in high up places and are leaders and the people who are meant to be taking care of us when the shit hits the fan. Well, I'm sorry, I don't think I trust you.
Yeah. I think one thing that is quite refreshing, if you will, in this is that when word got out now that the one of the former prime ministers of Norway was involved, they kind of snatched him. And I'm not sure where it's gonna go, but as far as I've understood, they want to prosecute him.
Yeah.
And also the Polish government, I think, they are like, nope, we're gonna blow the lid open on this one, and we're not gonna redact any names. So there are, I have some hope, but I really, really, really do hope that what will come of it, because surely there are a lot of Europeans involved in this, and I really, really hope that these people are not protected here like they seem to be protected in the US.
No. And the thing is, I don't understand why. So people have been rioting and protesting over, Palestine. They've been rioting and protesting over this and that. Why is no one
Yeah.
protesting over this? This is literally children being trafficked and chopped up, whatever, abused in all ways. And it's been going on for years by the elites that control us and have
Yeah,
and we pay taxes to. And where is everybody?
yeah. I
Where
believe
is it? Where is everybody?
I believe that I think until recently, a lot of people here in Europe have been thinking, oh, it's only the Americans. But I think, unfortunately, that we are soon going to be privy to knowledge that,
That hasn't been
unfortunately,
redacted.
there are
A lot of
a
people.
lot of people in high places in Europe
Sure.
that's been into this more so than the Prince Andrew that's been dragged across media. But I mean, I think it's really, really weird. And I think it's really worrying that it's gone this far without, I mean, how can they so openly, I'm talking about the Americans now, how can they so openly protect these horrible, horrible people
It's a bit
and
beyond me.
somehow get away with it? I mean, why aren't everybody that isn't involved? I mean, they get the votes in the Congress. I think it's the House of the Representatives.
All those admit too.
Yeah, but I mean, it can't be all of them because it's such vile things that it's gotta be such a small subset of people that would be into that. What I've heard though is that Epstein did a lot of really, really bad stuff, but there is a now we're getting into the conspiratorial stuff, but
We act like
there
that.
is I'm
We
gonna
had
go
to
with
act like
this.
that.
I'm gonna go with this. But there is I heard that there is a theory that this was a like a KGB honey trap in the
That's
is
another one I heard that. Yeah, yeah, I heard that.
and that Epstein was set up. He was pretty smart, I guess, but also he was set up to have like he had something for everyone. And he was completely void of any moral or ethics. So what he could have like somebody just liked a good party or drugs or something like that, but he could also traffic women or children or stuff like that. So he would just find what this person what was their thing, and then they would be like they would spin that, and if lucky or by design, that person would be compromised and they would have like a hold on them. So that would mean that there are a lot of people in these files that didn't do such bad things. They just but so that makes it hard because you can't like think that everybody did this, because it would be like statistically impossible that you would have this many people, like all people in power would be like pedophiles. I
Yeah.
don't buy it.
No, 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 I don't buy either. But there's
I,
there's there's a thing that just because there's a name in the files doesn't mean they're involved
no.
directly in that. It just means that he spoke about them in an email,
Yes.
or he was trying to get a hold on someone because obviously he was trying to pull strings in certain places to get what he wanted. Because this is the definition of a deep state. He was
Yes.
He was getting involved in CIA. He was getting involved with the COVID stuff. He was getting involved in anywhere he could. Of course, there's gonna be loads of names in there about all sorts, not all about that deep, dark stuff, that real horrible stuff. But so I think, I would not trust now all this stuff's out in the open. Do I trust government? Hell no.
I think that one thing that governments now are really scared about is that this becomes the proof of the covert cabal. That means that they lose power and credibility. So that is something I think governments for real
Hmm.
are very worried about, because suddenly it becomes like a lot of the conspiratory people were correct, even though they were maybe correct in like another way than what was thought. But think they are worrying about that stuff as well, because that becomes like, okay, so what power does our government really have? That could be a thing.
I think that's why a lot of governments now, especially the UK, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, the UK has been and has very been famous for its undercover covert stuff. So I think, and a lot of, who was that guy who was put in prison? He was banged up in prison. He was recently released and he was in there for like 15 years without trial. Just literally,
Oh,
without trial, just boom, because he blew the doors open on some war crimes and stuff like that. And they just slammed him in
Where,
this.
the UK, was it?
Yeah, they put him in prison. What was his name? I can't remember what his name is now. If I find out, yeah, they threw him in prison without a trial, basically. And a lot of people were like, conspiracy on that and all this sort of stuff, and it all came out to be true. And there's loads of other stuff as well. So I think the UK government has lost a lot of its credibility over the years,
yeah.
and I think that's why
100%,
it's now.
yeah.
I think that's why it's now going to the extreme measures of just slamming people in prison and trying to overstep their reach to try and we can't enforce our laws through respect. So now we're going to do it by force, and just anyone who disagrees with us, in you go, boy.
Yeah. I also think that this is a case of like it's like physics. Like every force has an equal and opposite, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So
Yes,
so so if you push something hard enough in one direction, you're gonna get at least an equal push in the other direction back.
yes,
And I think this is very true in politics as well. So when we've been talking about other stuff like this before, like when you have certain opinions that get pushed and get popular, and one agenda then after a couple of years, it gets pushed back like really hard in the other direction. And then you can, if you are really unlucky, you can get the pendulum swinging back and forth, and you're not settling in a good place. So I think that's something that's kind of happening here right now.
Government mandate from the UK doesn't allow it to, come in and say we're gonna put in digital ID. Doesn't say we're gonna allow in 1,000,000 extra immigrants in the next 3 or 4 years, just let them wander in with no papers. Being allowed by Starmer at the moment over there, and he's one of the boys in the group. He's in the club.
well, talking about deep states. Yeah, I'm not sure
Put
if you
your
ever
hat back
if
on, I
you
said.
I'm not sure if you yeah, put your hat on, because this one's deep. I'm
Mm.
not sure, I'm not sure if you've heard of the
Here
Fabian
we go.
Society.
Hat on.
Have you guys heard of the Fabian Society?
No, I'm not
Who?
sure.
Jim, do me a favor and type into Google the Fabian Society.
Yeah,
Fabian Society.
Yeah,
will do.
Bring it up to
right.
speed.
Now
Oh my
now
god.
the
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
the Fabian Society are basically a socialist group that control the Labour Party. It says that right on the website, not even a secret. It
Oh
says
yeah,
that.
it's like in really all like for
Mhm.
1800s stuff.
Yep. Okay, and they every leader of Labour has been a member of the Fabian Society, and they are basically a secret society who try and leverage their opinion in politics. And so the Labour Party don't say they're a socialist party or they're a communist party. However, they are being pushed and controlled and leveraged by a socialist party. It says it
It's the
right
same in
there.
America then.
It, say,
Americans
it
have
says it right there in black and white.
the
But they
Americans have, what do they call them in America? They have the, society over there, the Masons.
Yes. Well, no,
Yeah.
that's in the UK, I think. The
Yeah,
Masons in the
we
UK.
have them here as
The
well. But they are more on the right side.
Yeah. So
But aren't I mean, here in Sweden, when we hear about, I mean, comparatively speaking to other countries, here in Sweden, we are, and in all of Scandinavia, we are kind of socialist, and we
Mm.
are not really, of course, not every party in Sweden is socialist, but as societies, if we will, the Nordic countries and Scandinavian countries are more socialist than a lot of others. And at least here, when I hear on the news about the Labour Party, I would just maybe not. I think that my view of the British Labour Party has moved towards a bit like the Swedish Democrats. They are like right wing, but not the right, not like the conservative, really. Another alt right, if you will.
Mm.
But before early before that, before Brexit and stuff like that, I saw Labour as kind of like a socialist party, like the workers' movement. Maybe it's from the name of the party, but that's how my view of it has been. So when you say I like they're socialist, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't mean like I think it's wrong having any kind of secret society
Ah, yeah,
pulling strings off. Because if you're saying we are the Labour, we stand for X, Y, Z, then you've got a group behind us going, right, now they're in power, we're going to do this, this, this. Because that means what's the point of having Labour in power? Because the person who's meant to be speaking for the people doesn't speak for the people, but speaks for the secret society and their interests.
They
but
have
are
what chairperson is the Baroness Hyde of Bermondsey, general secretary, they have headquarters, main organised committees, and they have treasurers.
yeah, but they aren't really secret.
They are because they don't say they exist. No one's ever heard of them, and yet they exist.
They're there. Yeah, they're on paper.
They
Yeah, they've been
are
created
they
in
have a
1884,
I
February,
I
or
mean, they
January.
have a quite substantial Wikipedia page.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
Looking at it here.
no one ever speaks about them. No one
Dawn
ever.
Associates, World Economic Forum. There's another one for us.
Yeah,
That's one we need to dive into one day.
but when it comes to prepping, I would rather a government like Jim has that says, "Listen, guys, shit kicks off. You guys need to be ready."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because what they
your
are
government always. We don't.
yeah, so what they are saying is kind of like they are being upfront with people working. For instance, if we have like a really big power outage, so electric. I mean, electric. You don't have power. Water pumps will stop. You will have no cell phone. You will have no sewage pumps, stuff like that. They are kind of upfront with. We still need people to get back to work because people are working with this stuff. They need to work with getting this going. And they can't get this going if they aren't going to work because like it's a becomes like a it's obvious if you think about it. I mean, someone has to fix it, someone has to go to work to fix it, or probably a lot of people. But in order for them to get to work, the school and preschool need to work, the buses need to work, the everything needs to work. So that's the entire idea, and just being upfront with it instead of like, no, don't worry, we're gonna fix things. And so what? So people should stay home? I
Yeah,
mean,
no, exactly.
it doesn't make sense. But I think people need to be told this. People need to be told that okay, your water doesn't work, your lights doesn't work, your heating doesn't work, nothing works, but you still need to go to work.
I
And
think they're scared of telling the truth because they're for every year they're raising taxes, saying that the money's getting spent on all this stuff to be able to protect you and help you. So they're scared to say, "Guess what? We can't help you," because they know
yeah,
then they know everyone's going to kick off and go, "Well, hang on a
yeah,
second. You've been raising our taxes every single year for the past 20 years. When you say you're not going to raise our taxes, so you do the opposite." And then you can't deliver the goods. So I think
yeah.
they just
I think so too. That is also an interesting thing because it becomes like a hard sell if you're a politician, because if you are then say you're increasing taxes because you need to invest in like the power grid or the electrical grid or the whatever, that makes you still need to, if something happens, you still need to go to work. I mean, you can still be safe, but what could be is that a crisis that otherwise would happen did not. So you prevented by doing this and by prevented it, but every prevention is really, really hard to sell to people. It's really hard to sell that if we do this, if everything is successful, you won't notice it in any way.
But I think with the UK government, they've just been caught out lying to the British public
Yeah,
for over the past few years. That anything they say is just hard to believe now.
yeah.
Like, we're gonna help the old people, and then they took away their heating allowance. Oh no, we're gonna reduce taxes. They increased taxes. Oh no, we're gonna do this. They did the opposite, and that was just about on every single subject. So I don't think anyone's trusting. I mean, they were mentioned about the whole you have to get your children ready to send a war, and everyone was
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
everyone was like, fuck yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's see how that works out. That's gonna be interesting.
when I saw that, my first thought was like, wow, that was a really politically bad thing to say. Especially if you are having issues. I don't know if it was a Brit or if it was a French general who said it. I think it was maybe a French one, but I mean, in France they have I mean, not everyone in France loves the government there either. Pretty obvious when you see the farmers with the tractors putting all the cow shit in front of the government buildings and stuff like that, pouring all the milk out. And I mean,
How can you?
they
How
you
can?
I
Go
mean,
on. Sorry.
they no, they could they now this is some military guy, I think. So they don't think the same way. I think that person wanted to just jog people's minds, like, come on, you've got to think. You can't just put your head in the sand. You got to think about this for real. This is for real. And then you use people's children because that is a really, really sensitive topic. It wouldn't become such an explosive thing to say if you said you gotta be prepared to take up arms. It's worse to say send your kids. And talking about sacrifices and stuff, that's not really building confidence.
Especially after Europe is behaving the way it is and treating people like crap. To then add that on top, you're like, so you want to treat us this way, and then you want us to fight for you. Yeah, good luck with that. I think people would rather go to prison than
What, yeah, but one of the things that they really need to, I think that the politicians really need to think about is that if you are going to push really hard on like defense and stuff like that, then you need to bloody make sure that the what you have and what you are defending is better than the or at least I'm pretty sure that we could have it a lot worse and it still would be a heck of a lot better than being invaded by Russia.
Yeah.
But they need to make this clear. They need I think that especially for people where the trust in government isn't as great, you need to be very careful with this and you need to be like you need to show that we take care of each other here. We take care of each
yeah.
other here. We are not using you. So as soon as people feel used, then they then or at least won't step up.
I mean, well, look at the UK right now with all the how divided it is just amongst its
Yeah,
civilians. It's going to be very difficult and the government's not doing nothing about that. So I think the people need to see that there is going to be some kind of change and that they're going to be fighting for a better future before they pick up arms. Because otherwise, they go, "What's the point?"
Yeah. So why do you think they are failing so miserably in the UK when it comes to the division of
Because they
the
haven't
people?
got the backbone to say it how it is. Because
yeah,
the UK, this is I put your tinfoil hat on, Frank. Because the UK has been sold.
absolutely. And as Trump says, Europe has fallen. Europe, England is finished, he said. Europe is right behind them, and Ireland is right behind that.
Qatar owns a lot of the
Qatar
UK.
owns half of Europe.
If you this is public information, you can look it up. It owns like half of, well, it's a big investor in the Muslim Brotherhood, and so you've got all these cover-ups and this like that, and they're being forced because if they're big investors into the UK and they've got billions and billions of dollars invested into the UK, then they can't really say anything against it. Otherwise, they're just going to pull their money out and put it elsewhere. So I think that's my opinion on it. I could be wrong. It's a conspiracy theory. Yes, it is. It's not too much of a conspiracy theory because you only got a couple of Google searches and you can see that Qatar are huge investors. You look at who they back and who they invest, and the UK government is the only government in Europe, I think, that don't recognise the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organisation.
Yeah, England are the only ones that don't seem to recognise that.
So
Everybody else,
and why is that?
because they're getting all the money from Qatar, and Qatar will not allow one single refugee from the likes of Gaza or Palestine. No way, you're not coming into our country.
So
Or Iran, they don't want them. Or Egypt, they don't want them. Why?
so
They all come to the UK.
what I'm thinking now is, so
They're
now
all being
you
paid
have
to come to the UK.
we were talking earlier about the pendulum, like
I know we're getting
Yeah.
off.
the equal
That's
and
back on
opposite
again.
reaction.
That's
So
back on.
yeah, as Frank's putting the tinfoil hat on, the aluminium tinfoil hat.
Aluminum.
No, we're not Americans. Aluminium. And
Aluminium.
no, but I suspect that you are getting, and I kind of know that you are already are, but I think that the the pendulum will go far to the other side in the UK. It just takes time, and I
Yeah.
hope that it doesn't go so far as becoming a real issue in another way.
But I think it will. I think it will because I think things unfortunately have to get a lot worse before they get better. If things are broken, you have to break it even more to then be able to rebuild it up. So I think, and I don't think there's any real peaceful way to actually fix the issue in UK. I think it's so
No.
divided. And no one wants to compromise. Nobody wants to compromise. And you've got, hey, it's not just two people. You got the Jewish that don't want to compromise with the Muslims. You got the Indians that don't want to compromise with the Pakistanis. You got the Brits that are just in the middle.
College students that are totally woke, think completely different from everybody else.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
nobody wants to compromise with. Yeah, no one wants to compromise with anyone, and so I think it's just gonna go pop, and it will sort itself out. Unfortunately, but I think that's probably the only way it's going to sort it. But I think this is one of the problems that we covered in another episode is that people are afraid to sit down and have a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
Because you see it when this is on both sides of the spectrum, where one goes to a protest, says, "Oh, why are you protesting?" Because of X, Y, and Z. Well, speak to me then. Have your voice heard.
Yeah.
And they refuse to speak.
Go
It's
on.
like, well, why are you protesting if you don't want your voice being heard? So what better way to have your voice heard? Because that's why you're
They
there, right?
refuse.
Yeah.
So,
They were asked the other day, when you're chanting from the river to the sea, for example, what river and what sea are you talking about? They couldn't answer. None of them could answer. River Jordan down to the Med.
I can answer, but I'm
Sure.
not chanting it either. But yeah, I think that's a real problem that you get people that, and you and I have talked about this earlier, Frank, that some people kind of just want to protest something.
yes.
And they feel the need to just take a really firm stance on something, and they don't really understand what they are what they've s- are protesting for or against,
They're being
or
programmed.
it's like they don't understand why. It's just they feel the need to.
And we
Yeah.
can't understand why we can't talk to them, put them right, because they just absolutely ignore any other comment.
Yeah,
They're
and
so
I've seen
fixated,
this in so many
so
people.
focused.
I've seen this in so many people, and it's usually young people.
Yes.
People need
And
to talk.
yeah,
People need to talk.
it's usually, but because I think, unfortunately, I think this is kind of like part of human nature, because you see this in like places where it really shouldn't be, like your favorite football team. I mean, people kill each other
Yeah.
because of soccer teams, football
Yes.
teams. I mean,
Crazy.
it's insane. I mean, you're from the same place and you like the same sport. I mean,
Let's Let's kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. It's like some people just need to
Vent their
feel
anger.
like I'm part of this group and this group is against that group and we hate them and we don't know why, but it doesn't matter because we do. And unfortunately I think that's kind of
Yeah.
Really,
Do you know
or
what?
Italy.
There was a podcast talking about like the discussions and like how I think people need to be able to have discussions and talk. I think that's the only thing that can save us. But no one wants to talk,
But nobody doing it.
and they can't sit in the same room without
Yeah.
shouting at each other and without insulting each other. The other day, I had the biggest respect for this podcast. There was what was his name? Not feeling very good with names today. Yeah, there was a podcaster. He was a Jewish guy, and he invited on his show the most right wing. He was a right out.
Proper Nazi.
Yeah, proper Nazi. And he was like, I want everybody to go. I want
Yeah.
everyone. If you weren't born here and you're not ethnic this, you've got to go. And that was it. And I was like, wow, this guy's not screwing around. And he was like, well, how would you do that? But these two actually had a discussion. He was a Jewish man and a Nazi, right? And they were having a proper discussion and they actually cracked a couple of jokes to each other. And
Yeah.
they actually laughed at each other's jokes. They were fucked up jokes and they were sick jokes, but they actually laughed about it and they actually managed to find some sort of common ground.
Yeah.
Now, when you see a Jewish man and a Nazi find common ground, you know the world's fucked, right? And but I had all out respect for these two people because they actually sat down, no matter what their views, they actually sat down and they actually had a discussion to try and understand each other. And they actually managed to walk out of there, I believe, having a
Holding
bit
hands,
more.
singing Kumbaya.
Yeah, but they actually managed to find some common ground and actually have an adult discussion about real things and real troubles.
Now
So
you mentioned that. Can I ask a question?
yes.
Since none of the last election where Trump lost, where are all the Proud Boys gone? Have they joined ICE?
Yeah, I think so. No,
Ever
not
seen 'em?
all of them, but a lot of the Proud Boys have joined ICE, I think, or Department of Homeland Security, because they are
Ah.
on different. It's
Brought in it.
ICE, it's Border Patrol, it's it's FBI, it's a lot of them. But I mean, they hired a journalist without asking questions, someone who just wanted to infiltrate and see how it worked. So
Yeah.
like the background checks is like anyone willing.
Yeah. 6 weeks of training, I think, yeah, sit in the pub and discuss it. And then
Yes.
there's a gun.
So
"Oh, you have my own gun. Fine, off you go. Shoot a
yeah.
mother." Okay, look, I don't wanna get into it. I think ICE a little heavy-handed, but here, has to be done in circumstances.
I really don't like what's happening there right now. What I think is interesting is that if you look at the time when Barack Obama was president of the United States, he was
Yeah.
deporting a lot of people.
Hmm.
Yes, he was deporting a lot of people, more than Donald Trump.
Was he?
But
Well, sure.
yes,
But then they still came back in, didn't
no, but he did it in a better way. He did
Yes.
it in the proper way because what I think the problem. I mean, ICE and Border Patrol and all these guys, they have existed for a long time and they have been active for a long time in the US, but they have kept to the American law. The problem now is that I believe that the Department for Homeland Security is used to instill fear into the population. It's not about how many they get home. It's about instilling fear because I think they are going to use this to suppress voters in November. Because that is what I think. I think that they will. Yeah, and him what's his called? Anon, some Trump guy. He actually said that they would put ICE during the election at the voter stations. So, and everybody now knows that if you are in the wrong state and if you are dressed the wrong way or if you have an accent or if you look the wrong way, doesn't matter if you're a US citizen, they can just take you and say, "Oh, no problem, we released you." Yeah, but the voting station is closed.
Yeah.
And if you protest, now you're on the list as a domestic terrorist. So I truly believe that they are very consciously using this as a tactic to instill fear into the population, and this is the real danger of populist governments,
Mm.
because they say they will do one thing and then they don't, because what their agenda and how they are seen and how they are promoting themselves can be different, because they say what they say believe will work, and there is something else, and they are not the same. That is the so, and also in the US they have a really weird system where it's not like you're either legal or you're an illegal immigrant. It's like a gray scale that is huge, and a big part of the American economy is dependent on these gray areas of immigration.
But I
So
think some of these grey areas are created on purpose.
yes,
So
yes, and they
they
are
can,
creating new ones now. This is the
yeah,
worst part, that
because then they can say, but I wasn't breaking the law. Well, actually, you were. And they can use it to their advantage. Well, actually,
yes,
today you were, and yesterday you weren't.
yeah, and also now they are deporting people, and the people they are deporting may or may not, but I think that some of them, they will come back as workers in farming industry.
England has had them already where they paid people to leave. One guy got his 10,000.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking they are
Yeah, but he was
deporting
back
them and
7
then
days
they
later.
come back without rights.
Home and he came back. And Ireland has the same thing. They're coming over for the money.
So they
Going.
no, I don't. That's not what I mean. I mean I think they are taking them, they are deporting them, and then they are allowed back in, but under a different set of rules.
With a visa. Okay.
No, not with the visa. Like they I think this is I think this is heading to like slavery 2.0, because they will come in and the kind of like have to be supervised all the time, because they are not allowed to stay. So and have their passports taken and stuff like that. I think we are risking of that becoming a thing. And some people will make a lot of money on this, and you can guess what they are voting for. But we'll see. I really hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope that there will be an election in November, because if that is fair, it would be really. I would be if it's a fair election in November, I would be really surprised if it doesn't lean over to the Democratic side for both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Because of everything that's happening now, it would surprise me a lot. And if that happens, then the pendulum swings back in a direction that might be better. But we'll see what happens. Because if it doesn't, and if it becomes an even if I fear that there will be no election 2028.
Well, in the UK, the Labour government are already blocking votes. In the UK as well, they're blocking votes. So yeah, it's crazy. But I think all of this to summarize this up, I think it's just causing nothing but divide right across the globe.
Yeah.
With all the corruption, I think it's just more important for people like us to push the word out, saying, "Hey guys, you need to be prepared," because
Yes.
it's very it could go in any direction.
You need to be prepared, regardless of if you trust your government or not trust your government. I mean, like for instance, for me who trusts my government to a high degree, my government tells me I need to prepare. So if you are in a place where you don't trust the government, you still need to prepare.
Yeah.
And because things are as divided as they are now in the world, and it's worrisome to the west and it's worrisome to the east, and for different reasons people in Europe are divided. We
It's a
need
heated
to
topic regardless,
prepare,
everywhere.
and we also need to, like you said, Lewis, we need to talk to each other in a positive way, and I think us preppers need to be an example in this. Also, our community, the prepping community, is a diverse group, especially now when I see this in Prepping Europe, because nationally preppers might be, I'm not gonna say homogeneous, but more alike. But when you take them per country, I mean, a prepper in one place is not the same as a prepper in another place. And apparently we can talk to each other fine. So I think that we need to continue to be a good example of that,
Yeah.
that you can discuss stuff and in a civil way. And it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to be disrespectful.
No, and I think it's okay to, it's okay to disagree. And if you know someone who's close to you or who has very different opinions and you kind of avoid these topics, that is the exact problem that we have today, because everyone is avoiding topics. And, when you avoid topics and you avoid those awkward discussions, it creates unnecessary resentment,
Yes.
unspoken resentment, So don't avoid the topics, sit down and and bring the topic up. Just, make sure you have all the sharp objects away from each other when you talk and just talk,
Yeah.
talk it out.
and
But just,
and and we have one mouth and two ears for a reason.
I actually do that regularly with a friend of mine, and he's ultra left. Can't
Yeah.
change. But I talk to him at night. Right, Larry, we're not discussing politics tonight, and we'll go on. We talk about anything else. But as soon as he gets a few drinks in him, boom, politics kicks in. Everybody gives out to him because he's the only person in the room that thinks that way. He's ultra left. He's one of them Gaza, Palestine dudes, and he lives for it. And I said, why don't you put your energy into something else? Like, because he wastes an awful lot of time going to protests and whatever. And I said to him, that last time he went to a protest when Gaza was free, like, and everybody was getting food and weren't being bombed, and I said, "What the hell are you going to a protest now for?" "Oh, I don't know. I think somebody missed up the flag or something." And, he's one of these guys that I can talk to. I know him for so many years, and he's only gone this way in the last 4 or 5. He's a nice guy under it all, but as you say, we all need to sit down and talk. He doesn't want to talk. When we bring up politics, it's his way or no way. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Good luck.
So no. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's good. But if you start a conversation with someone with a differing opinion, and you're going out with, I'm gonna try to understand why you are feeling the way you feel. If
You
that's
want me to
the
get him on? We get him on.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
get him on.
but if that's the way you start, and then hopefully you get to understand, but you might still not. It takes two to tango, say I, who have been dancing tango. But if no one is taking this approach, then it can never happen. I mean, there's some people you do this to that it doesn't work, but if you can get this to work, that I can try to understand why you think in a certain way, and I really try to understand, I might still disagree. And I can tell you, I disagree because I feel this way. And if that person that I'm talking to, if that person can do the same, then we can find common ground and we can actually get somewhere. But it's hard to do. You have to do a conscious effort to do it, because it doesn't really come naturally.
yeah. And it's not about changing their opinion. If you start the conversation with the objective of, I'm going to change them and they're going to come out a new man,
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
it's not going to happen. You just have to try and understand each other and try and find some sort of common ground, because right now the world is so divided and we need to come together, because,
Yeah.
the real problem is the hierarchy. And that's the real problem. So it's all about trying to find some sort of common ground to then be able to fix this problem. Because if especially the UK, if the people don't come together, it's never going to
I
happen.
think it's too late. It's just gone too late. Literally, it's
So
gone.
yeah,
If they don't get it done by the end of this year, I'd say it's good luck, goodbye, move out, grow a
yeah, yeah,
beard, and bend down 5 times a day. That's the way it's gone. Anyway,
but
look at
yeah,
the time. We
yeah.
are up an hour there.
Well,
So
let us know what
this
you thought
conversation
about.
could go good
Yeah,
way.
we went there.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and let us know what you thought about the episode. Let us
As
know
usual,
your
subscribe.
yep, subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah, I'll hand it over to Jim.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with this being another of the episodes where there is an actual tinfoil hat that is used, and it's
I'm
been
keeping
on a
it there.
head. It's been on a head,
Yes.
and now it's hanging in the background.
It'll be
And
there for next week.
I'm gonna get one as well. No,
She's
but
gonna give out to me, but here, I just said it was here originally.
no, but I want to thank everyone who is listening to us because to us this is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We care all you who are listening. We are caring about your safety, and we are caring about our safety, and let's make the world better and not worse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end it with
I
that.
think we should have a giant group hug
Yes.
after we put our hats on.
No.
Okay.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast.
Yes,
because
please do.
that way we see that you like it, and you get to see when the next episode comes. So
yes,
please
there's
do.
like I was looking at the statistics the other day from our viewers and everything else, and there was like 62% of the people that watch aren't subscribers. So if you're watching, smash the subscribe button.
Yeah. Click on the subscription box. Goes a long way on the
Give
analytics.
us give us
cost
some
you
support.
nothing.
Cost you nothing. Just give us some support.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, talk to you. Thank you.
Interesting topic
Take
next
care.
week coming up.
We're
Take care.
out.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Over and out.